Hi, I'm Ed Anderson. I'm the SRE manager at RealSelf.com down the way here, and we're big fans of serverless. And for where I sit as the head of this department, it's pretty clear to me that serverless is the future of cloud operations. It took us a little while to get comfortable with it, and in October 2015, our VP of Engineering went to this class at reInvent. He was like running this thing in Lambda. You drop a file in S3, run some Node.js, rainbows appeared. He was like, dude, this is the coolest thing ever. You got to check it out. And I was like, code without servers sounds, All right, so, but by 2016 early, they had brought in support to run inside the VPC, which was great for us because we had internal APIs that we wanted to integrate with, and there was a long list of other services we wanted to pick up, so we tried it out. You may recognize what our project ended up looking like here. In spite of our amazing plan, in spite of our amazing development staff, and our wonderful DevOps practitioners, this thing just wasn't happening, so we had to move on. That led us to a period of retrospection. What had gone wrong? Had we failed the system? Had the system failed us? It was labeled just code on the outside of the box. We knew code, didn't we? Well, we learned some things from this experience. I'll leave it at that. The first is we underestimated what ultimately ended up becoming a new SDLC model, new operational model, and we actually underestimated the effort of integrating with all those wonderful cloud APIs that we got the chance to use. The second learning that we had was that we didn't really bring our creative thinking caps to this process. We tried to reuse the techniques that had been successful for us in the past, and enough had changed in the meantime to where those techniques just weren't good anymore, and it didn't pan out for us. But today we do use serverless quite a bit. We take a serverless first approach to automation. We turned off our last instance doing sysadministrivia last year. We're not ever going back, and there are a few things that we keep in mind to like keep it working and successful. The first of those is, serverless is not general purpose compute. You can't just take any old problem you have, rub some serverless on it, everything's groovy. It's not like that today. You may get there, but you got to start smaller. Maybe you want webhooks that copy data or crons that run in a short period of time, single-step automation. There's other things that are weird about serverless, like obvious ones, execution time has a hard limit on it. Less obvious ones, globally scoped variables can persist between invocations. See me later if you want to cry about that. Third, serverless is a differentiated product offering for your cloud, no matter which cloud you're using. If you're trying to make your way into multi-cloud, you should take a lap and come back in 6 months and see what's happening because like the maturity is not there for this to be your gateway. The last learning that we keep in mind now is we used to think of our cloud and our code as two completely separate entities. Now we don't do that anymore with our serverless projects. We keep our code and our cloud config together, we test them together, we ship them together, and it is actually pretty cool that way. So you're an attendee here at DevOpsDays. That means you're interested in helping your business win, right? Because DevOps is about helping your business win. I want you all to know that serverless operations is different enough to where your like systemic understanding of things is required to be successful. Fortunately, as an automator, there's a rich set of event sources everywhere. Do you have automation kicked off by webhooks, crons, stored procedures and databases? Okay, put your hands down. I'm just saying you got options. You might believe you've already solved the problems of what do we do about local development, log aggregation, CI and deployment, performance management, operational awareness. Serverless is going to give you a chance to revisit not just one of those, but all of them. Add to that, the serverless ecosystem is rapidly changing. Since last August, when I talked about this last, there have been substantial updates to the way that local development works, and some sweet product manager at AWS gave us controls for back pressure, and if you're here, I'd like to give you a hug, if that's okay with you. Cost prediction is super tough in this world, but for an example, if we took an app taking 1 request a second for an entire month that runs in 200 millis or less, you can run that for like 15 cents a month. That may not be good for your like apps, but for your automations, it's probably all right. So y'all, imagine not having to patch OpenSSL 3 times a month. Imagine an app whose risk profile is handling well-formed input. Imagine a world where you can't even use the listen system call. You should know that the metrics in serverless are pretty pedantic. They're definitely tailored to the provider here because they're watching the execution time of what you run. They're not giving you an access log of what your users are experiencing, and depending on how you configure it, it may be quite weird. And I'd like to close with not a call to violence, but recognition that serverless is a journey and one that I hope you'll join us on.